I would like to be traded to any other team but the New England Patriots.
Big brain predictions. That's what I got.
Take it off, sir.
The Washington football team beat the Steelers.
All right.
And that person.
EDP.
Yes, but if we lose this game, I firmly believe we do not need to make playoffs. So
Don't you ever disrespect me.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to After Further Review. This is episode number 41. I know I did not change it up there in the corner. It still says 40. Give me a break, folks. This is how this show goes. But I am your co-host today, Jalen Brown.
I am our other wonderful co-host, Shaquille Brown.
And today we have on Matt.
I'm the guest, Matthew Jouer.
Matt, I want to be a big thank you for having us this week. Do you want to tell the folks at home a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thank you guys for coming. I'm one of the co-founders here at Big Can Beer Company. We opened up here almost 2 years ago now, coming up on our second anniversary. Great beer, great food, right in the heart of Tampa, West Tampa. And I'm not originally from here, but got a lot of Florida roots. Lived in Tallahassee when I was real little. My dad went to grad school there. The whole family is all Florida State alum. My folks lived down Bonita Springs area for about 15 years before we moved down here. So we knew we'd be coming back to Florida when we had some little ones running around, because putting them in winter gear and carrying them around sucks. And so shoveling. So we packed up and put this project together in the meantime, and took a while. About 5 years later, but here we are.
Nice. Yeah, folks, so if you are listening to the show, we have a video version, just in case you don't know. You can catch us live on YouTube every Wednesday night, usually at around 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard, but just for the circumstances this week, we're a bit early at 8 o'clock. But yeah, subscribe to the channel. You can see all the different podcasts on the Melheims Media Network. But without further ado, we're going to get to our first topic of the week, which is the status of the NBA Finals right now. Tonight is Game 4 in almost about an hour. So, yeah, up until this point, it is 2-1 Phoenix. What was your guys' biggest takeaway from Game 3 when Milwaukee finally got a win? What did you think about how the Bucks finally snagged their first dub?
Home field advantage or home court advantage really does play a factor in this game.
Yes.
I feel like that's one of the big reasons they won. Giannis, of course, did his thing, went in there, put up his numbers. Tonight, I feel like it's going to be the true test for them. But, like, last night they did their thing. They got their first dub in. True question is, can they be consistent?
Right. That is the good point for them.
I think what's most likely is that the Phoenix Suns got ambushed by a bunch of people that forced them to drink beer when they arrived in Wisconsin, because that's what everybody does in Wisconsin.
Right.
Or hunt. They hunt or they drink beer. And so that I think that's why, and that's why Giannis was able to score. How many points did he have? 43.
40, yeah, about 43. He was unbelievable.
Because the Suns were hungover. That's the only reason.
Yeah, that explains Devin Booker not being able to hit the broadside of a barn that game, because he was not his usual self the other night. But yeah, I was highly impressed from the Bucks, because it wasn't just the Giannis show. They got some help from Middleton. Drew Holiday stepped up. He stepped up big time, because he really needed to, because the past couple games he was nowhere to be found at all. And then, of course, the city of Milwaukee came out in force. The whole stadium was packed. They had like 20,000 plus people outside the stadium watching, and I think.
Was it full inside?
Oh yeah, it was
Full inside
crammed.
and 20,000 people outside. So
They had
It's a cool little venue the way they set it up with the, I shouldn't say new anymore, it's been there for years, but newer arena.
Gotcha.
It's a dope environment to go, especially in the summer. You know, they got like 6 weeks of summer up there, so it's time to
Yeah,
go
better
outside,
enjoy it. You better enjoy it.
while here,
Earn that crispy white skin under parkas for 6 months.
while in Florida, we got like 300 plus days of summer. So
Right. But yeah, I think that the Bucks really showed, like, hey, we're at home. This is what we should be doing. We have to win these home games if we want to stand a chance. So tonight is going to be really telling. On that same note, though, who do you guys have winning tonight and why? I'll kick it off first. I'm saying Milwaukee does win tonight. They'll take care of their business. I think it's going to be similar to last game, where everybody's going to have to chip in. I don't think Giannis is going to go as crazy. He'll probably score 30-ish points. But I think Middleton will have a pretty big game as well. And defensively, they're going to really lock up Chris Paul and Booker and hold them to less than 30 points apiece. So don't let anybody go crazy on Phoenix, and I think Milwaukee will tie this thing up to go back to Phoenix.
I'm actually going to go for Phoenix wins this game. I don't see Giannis going 3 or 4 straight games with 40-plus points in the playoffs. And I see Booker being like, yo, I can't do night 2 of not scoring any points. They're all going to be like, open your eyes. We want to end this series and let people know that we really – CP3 wants his ring. I can see me yelling at his players in the locker room right now. I was like, yo, let us get this win. Stop playing around with our food, as some people would say, and get this win. So,
Yeah, I mean, both of these teams don't really know what they're doing, right? They're both new to
Uncharted
the
waters.
finals.
Yeah.
it makes sense that, just on paper, Phoenix wins the first two, they're at home. Milwaukee goes home, wins at home. But I do think that Phoenix is a better ball club overall. And they're definitely a more veteran ball club. So CP3, and as the veteran and the leader on the floor too, I think they'll figure out a way to just kind of limit Giannis and put some more ball than they did last time. Especially no, it's kind of a weird deal, but I feel like they'll probably bounce back tonight and win. Although they are 4.5-point underdogs.
So you guys you're both taking Phoenix?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm the lone soul on the Fear the Deer train tonight, but hey, we'll see what happens. Oh hell yeah!
It's been allowed. It's so we messing up for 40 weeks. So here we
we'll move on to the next topic here, which is the NFC North. So we're breaking down each division in the NFL for the past third week now. So we're working through all the NFC. We did the West, the East. Today is the North, folks. So we're going to go through each team's offseason. We're going to give our thoughts on how everybody did in free agency and the draft combined, like just overall, how do you think their offseason was? And then we're going to go through everybody's schedules and game by game predict win-loss. And then depending on who makes the playoffs in your scenario, how far do you think they will go in the playoffs this upcoming year? So, we'll start with just like I was saying before, we'll start with the off seasons. So, who do you think had the worst off season in the NFC North? Shaq, you want to go first?
It's hard for me to say who's the best and worst of these output. I will go this. I think the Lions made the worst decision and probably did the worst out of all the teams here when it came to offseason.
All right.
I feel like Stafford is a very solid problem. I feel like Stafford wasn't the problem. I feel like Stafford was very much the solution. It was what were you giving Stafford to work with on offense was the issue when it came to weapons. Trust me, anything Stafford couldn't do, Goff wasn't going to do.
Yes, that is very true. You weren't necessarily gaining anything by getting Jared Goff, but yeah.
No, I think that they are worse at that position. I don't think that Jared Goff is bad. I just think they're worse at that position. That's a tough position to get worse at because I don't think it's linear.
Right.
If you get 2 points worse at quarterback, it's really being like 6 points worse overall.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's a tough position.
Right.
And you need that to be solid. I think that's a tough thing for them to come back from. And I don't study the Lions or really the Bears and the Packers that much, but just on paper, none of the other teams had that issue to deal with.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Right. I also.
And they're Lions, so.
It does not help their case. I also have the Lions as the worst offseason in that division. They did bring in Big Dan Campbell. He's a fireball, but at the end of the day, I'm not sure how much help he's going to give that roster. So, I think he's going to be a nice new voice in that locker room to get them away from the big bad Matt Patricia that was a big cloud over their heads for a couple years now. But they clearly still have a lot of work cut out for them. They got rid of Galladay. He went to the Giants. So, not only have you now lost your stud quarterback, but your stud receiver is also gone. Hey, man, Detroit
They
could...
do not have an easy schedule.
No, they don't, without a doubt.
Even their preseason looks tough. The Bills, the Steelers, and the Colts, all playoff teams, right?
The Steelers are kind of like give and take.
They got 49ers, Packers, Ravens, Bears, Vikings. to start the season.
Yeah, we're gonna.
This is a big deal, right? To me,
Yeah.
in division opponents, and the other division opponents are 49ers and Ravens, who will both be quality clubs.
Right. Number 3, off-season wise, I put Green Bay at number 3. I thought that they had a good off-season. I didn't think it was great. They were able to keep a lot of that same core group together. To me, their 2 best moves, they retained both Aarons. Aaron Rodgers seems like he's going to come back at least for one more year. And then Aaron Jones seemed like he was going to leave, but they were able to pay him and keep him around. So the fact they were able to keep 2 of their 3 best players, or really all 3 of their best players, if you include Devontae Adams, that alone is good enough to have a solid offseason. They did lose their center. Corey Linsley's gone, but I think their biggest loss, though, was easily signing Blake Bortles. I don't know why that was needed, but that's their biggest knock, was picking up good old Blake Bortles to back up Jordan Love.
Well, they need Scout. They need Scout team.
I guess everybody needs one of those.
They want Jordan Love to be the guy, so he ain't going to be playing Scout team.
Right. But they got Blake now, so they're going to go ahead and win this whole thing.
Didn't they lose left tackle too?
Yeah, they did. They left a slew of dudes.
So here's my thing. I was going to put Packers and Lions are very close for the bottom 2 when it came this for me. And the only reason Lions got that 4th place is because they traded a quarterback for not a bad quarterback, but just a little bit less of a quarterback. But the Packers kept a quarterback that clearly made it known that he didn't want to be there. So it's a true question of how well he's going to perform on a team that he doesn't necessarily want to be a part of. Have you ever been part of a school project and you didn't want to be part of that project? How much effort are you really putting into that project? Your bare minimum.
I like your.
Cost him in the following season. No, someone's going to want Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Based on the body of work, not based on this past season.
I like your analogy, but at the same time, I think he's the kind of dude where I feel like he'll suck it up and just kind of play as to the best of his ability. Like I don't see him going out there and necessarily holding a grudge on the field per se, but
I just fully expect not to get. It's like yes, they're still gonna get like a playoff caliber team, but like at the same time, you're gonna be able to tell that it's not the same Green Bay that we're used to seeing play. We're gonna see a difference in play-wise overall or demeanor. We're gonna see some shit happen that we're not expecting to happen. It's gonna be some sort of miscommunication. Homeboy's gonna lose his mind at one point in the season. I'm Teddy playing with bum-ass people that I don't want to play with anymore. That's the type of vibe I'm looking at. So that's my take.
Yeah, I think that Aaron will be there, but I don't know that he will still. And if he is, like you guys said, he doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing.
Right.
Because nobody in their right fucking mind actually wants to be in Green Bay. That's nobody's like excited to go to Green Bay.
This is miserable.
No, they're getting a paycheck. They gotta do what they gotta do, and
Right.
they probably do feed off the fans because they're crazy and that's fun. But they're not. This isn't a place that folks want to go. Aaron Rodgers is from California.
Yeah.
Okay, he didn't want to be there. Brett Favre's best year was in Minnesota. His whole career. I know that they don't like that. I don't like any Packers fan. But I think they re-signed Jair Alexander for this year and next year.
They got him back.
A couple years. That's good. That's a good keep. I like him a lot. So is it this year is the last year on Devontae Adams' deal?
I think this is his contract year now, so I believe
Packers,
so.
The Packers are a dead organization walking.
They are. Yeah.
Because Devontae Adams not resigning there.
Right.
I'm
probably
pretty sure
not.
anyway. But he's 100% not resigning
If
Aaron
Rodgers walks, right.
And the Packers, unlike what Ted Thompson did drafted Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers fell to 24 in the draft, and they took him, even though they still had Favre, who was playing at a high level. But that was a really good player that fell, and they got value for him in the draft, and they knew they were going to be needing a quarterback, right? This pissed off Favre, the whole thing. We all know what happened. Yeah. This was different. Aaron Rodgers is in a similar point in his career, but they traded up to take a guy not as good as Aaron Rodgers was projected to be even then, right? And on top of it, the odds that the Packers are going to have back-to-back Hall of Fame quarterbacks are really low.
Yeah, because that's
and they've had a 30-plus year run right now. These two guys. That is, just from the quarterback standpoint, you would look at the franchise and probably say they've underachieved. Mm-hmm. 2 Super Bowls with those 2 guys, who are great players.
Right.
And so I'm most excited to just watch the crumble. And if it starts this year, you know it's coming. Right. But if Aaron Rodgers does play, of course, there's a chance that they win 13 games. They did it last year. And they got good players.
It won't make it past 2 rounds of playoffs. So I don't see as much as I would like to say they're still a great franchise, they're going to do wonderful maybe regular season, but come postseason, there's just so many powerhouses come postseason that they will not.
You're talking about this year or after?
No, this year coming.
Oh, this year.
This year, okay. Even with Aaron Rodgers coming out performing, there's just so many other between the Bucs, Kansas City, whoever comes out of my division is going to be pretty. And I just don't see it getting past.
And let's be clear. I think that the Vikings are going to need a head coaching and staff changeover here because Zimmer's getting a little bit. Last year was an anomaly for Mike Zimmer on the defensive side of the ball. Yeah. They will be better. And if Kirk Cousins does the same thing this year that he did last year, and Dalvin Cook and those guys all do the same shit, they don't get any better.
Right.
And I think they will get better. Yeah. But they don't get any better. The Vikings will be significantly better too. So that's 2 games in division for the Packers that are look different.
Right.
I think the Bears will be better. That's a tough one. I like what the Bears did a lot with the quarterback that drafted.
Justin Fields.
Yeah. I don't know that he's the answer for them.
We got to kind of wait and see.
But I do like he's not necessarily a starter, right?
No, I think Dalton's going to be starting for a little while.
That's a great setup.
Yeah.
And, he's not going to be the long-term solution, but he can play football.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, I have. Yeah, they are a dead organization walking. It's just gonna be interesting to see when they fall. But for my number 2 offseason, I did put Minnesota there because they needed to buff up that defense, and that's really exactly what they did. They got to work, picked up Patrick Peterson. They got him from Arizona. And then obviously they got Darisaw in the draft to help out on the offensive line. He should be a monster, I think. But yeah, I think the Vikings knew what they needed to do in the offseason, which is improve that defense. That's primarily what they focused on. And I think they'll be a solid team this year. But my number 1, I did put Chicago there at my number 1 because they needed a new franchise quarterback. Sorry, Mitch Trubisky, but just wasn't working out. Picked up Justin Fields and improved a little bit of the O-line. They got Tevin Jenkins. I think he's going to help protect Justin Fields in the future. And then, of course, they got Andy Dalton standing back there to hold it down until Fields is ready to start, which I'm going to guess Fields comes in later this year, probably after week 13-ish. Probably finish out the last few games of the season just for the coaching staff to see what he's got in the bag for him. But, I put Bears at number 1. They also franchise tagged Allen Robinson. I feel like they probably should have just given him a big deal, paid him, but I mean, I don't know what's going on there, but I mean, hey, they're able to keep Justin, or get Justin Fields, bring in a stud offensive lineman. I put the Bears at my number 1.
I was on the same page as you. I put the Vikings number 2, generally because I see them as already kind of of a whole team, just a few bits and pieces there that need to be filled, and they did it with that slacking defense they had past season. But it's just a matter of fact of do these players perform come next season?
Yeah.
And then of course the Bears being number 1. As a Bears, I feel like even though they had some room for improvement that they did with the starting QB, I feel like they've always been kind of like that middle of the pack sleeper team that nobody really puts in the back of their mind and everybody thinks about. So now just might be that season that they might ruin a couple teams' seasons of record with the new quarterback change and just new everything. So I just say teams do not go into Chicago
Thinking to get an easy dub.
Get an easy dub because it's not going to be easy for you. You actually have to play football. So.
Well, I got Chicago at 2, Minnesota at 1.
Okay.
I mean, I do like that they went after a franchise quarterback, but it also doesn't necessarily do much for him this year.
Right, this year.
It's like it's probably the most important move that the whole division made.
Yeah,
Even though we don't really know what it means.
Right, forthcoming.
They still got to play on that god-awful field. It's the worst grass in all of college or professional football. Run by the Parks and Rec in Chicago. It's such a joke. Here's my. I lived in Chicago for 5 years. I was going to a preseason practice, the only practice that they were going to have on Soldier Field because they practice up north.
Yeah.
And they canceled the practice because the field wasn't in good shape. Not a person had run on this field in the entire summer. And they had to cancel it because the field was no good. This is why the Chicago Bears put in a bid to buy Arlington Racetrack so they could move and own their own stadium and do their own damn thing. Should have done years ago. That's secondary to the Minnesota Vikings having the best offseason in the NFC North. But most of that is probably because they're going to get guys back healthy.
That is
Anthony
true.
Barr, Daniil Hunter, and they re-signed Sheldon Richardson on the interior. I mean, just those 3 guys along the front is an incredible deal. Harrison Smith back. I think they upgraded. They re-signed the other safety. I think they lost one. They got one. I can't remember.
I don't remember his name. Yeah.
They got corners that were out last year that were hurt. Obviously, Patrick Peterson added.
Right.
It's a big deal. Guys back.
You guys picked up Woods, Xavier Woods, signed him.
Oh yeah.
He should be,
What's he? Receiver? Wait, who's receiver?
I think corner, right?
Mike Zimmer loves corner.
Yeah.
We're gonna put 6 of them on the roster.
Right. I'm pretty sure he's a corner. Now it's
And on
safety.
offense, I think that Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen duo will continue to improve. It'll be interesting to see how that evolves because, I mean, to say that Justin Jefferson will have a better season this year is crazy.
I know. He was a monster last year.
But, the biggest jump that people generally have when moving levels is between years 1 and years 2.
Yeah.
So they should be better. Kirk Cousins is a question.
Yeah.
Last year was probably the best year of his career, stat-wise. First 3 or 4 games were rough, but after that he was lights out.
He was.
If Dalvin Cook can stay healthy, which is a huge if, but even if you give Dalvin 2 games that he can't play, he's still going to get you 1,500 yards on the ground.
Yeah.
And that's valuable. They improved the offensive line in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
They were shelling themselves on defense last year.
Yeah.
I think that that'll be a big. I mean, they just couldn't stop anything.
Exactly.
They scored a lot. I mean, the offense played pretty well. They just.
You guys, there was a game last year where you guys played Carolina. I want to say it went to overtime. pretty short bit, but it was just a wild fourth quarter where it was like neither team could stop each other. It was so crazy. Like the last 2 minutes of that game, it was so much back and forth scoring, and it was just like, made me want to pull my hair out, knowing
it's
that.
so uncharacteristic of Mike Zimmer defense throughout the last, 25 years of his coaching.
Exactly.
Whether he was in Dallas, Cincinnati, or Minnesota, his defenses were always good. And he just, they were just gutted. And the problem with, of course, all of that, the salary cap is you got guys like Daniil Hunter just doesn't play at all, and Anthony Barr gets hurt, and that's
a
probably
big blow.
25% of the entire cap on defense.
Right.
So those guys are back, and I think Sheldon Richardson's a super underrated addition because he was great for them. It was like 2 years ago that he played for them in the middle, and then he kind of got a nice little deal. But they've been missing, other than the year he was there, they've been really missing that, since Big Pat Williams and Kevin Williams had left off of that defensive line, which has now been probably 5 years.
Damn.
And I think that'll help. If Anthony Barr and Daniil Hunter can stay healthy, and you got some girth in the middle.
Right, an anchor there.
I think that'll be good. It'd be nice to see somebody in that league do something to give Green Bay
Or run for their money.
Because they just stomped all over everybody last year.
So that's perfect segue into the schedule predictions. So we'll start with Minnesota first. I've got their schedule pulled up here on the screen. Not for the folks at home, sorry, you guys can't see shit, but you can use your imagination or just Google it yourself, But or just listen. So we've made the mistake in the past of trying to remember, like, since we're going through each team, trying to remember who we picked the last team. Like, did we have the Vikings beating the Packers in game? So what I already did, took the initiative and went back to the teams we've already picked and filled in, so we already know where we stand and we don't have to guess. Obviously for Matt, he's brand new from scratch, so he's fine already. But for Shaq and I, we ran into that issue last week, which was really annoying. Does anybody want to go first in predicting this?
Do you want me to go first since you have mine pulled up?
Yeah, I have Shaq's pulled up right here, so you could just run through this.
I have Minnesota beating Cincinnati because it's Cincinnati. I have them lose against Arizona, lose against Seattle. I have them losing again against Cleveland because Cleveland, I feel like, is very real this year. I have them beating Detroit, beating Carolina. Of course, they're beating Dallas. I say they lose against Baltimore. Yeah. They beat Los Angeles.
Okay.
I say they beat the first game of Green Bay. I say they beat San Fran. Oh, they already did. Yeah, they beat San Fran. Detroit, they say they beat Detroit that way. Because I am the avid Steelers fan here, they're going to lose against Steelers.
Of course.
Just because who I am, my team. Chicago, they can.
Monday night at Chicago, that's a
They can lose against
that's
Chicago. Yeah, it's just
never fail.
they can lose against Los Angeles. I say they split with Green Bay, so they win this one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they win this one, and then they beat Chicago. Then they beat Chicago.
All right. That there. Done. All right. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8. Did I read that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8. Yeah. So you're going to what? 8 and 9. Did I do that right? My math wrong.
It's a very hard schedule. As I'm looking at it in person, there's a lot of teams are on the working their way up for you.
I don't think it's that great a schedule.
It's a hard schedule if you look at some of the teams we're playing.
Seahawks are home.
Yeah, Seahawks are at
the
home.
Vikings there.
Baltimore's at home.
Cardinals is a weird one. I mean, they should beat the Cardinals, but Cardinals are kind of an upstart.
Hopkins is out there. I remember he's a very wonderful receiver and hard to guard. And
Patrick Peterson knows how to do that.
Right, he knows their team. He knows their team.
home against the Seahawks and the Browns. So the Browns game, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
But it's home. So at Baltimore, that's a good prediction for a loss. But I'm not a big Baltimore fan at all either. They could. Lamar Jackson could run for 275 yards,
right,
or they could totally suck.
Yeah, that's the which Lamar you're gonna get that week.
You gave the Vikings a win at San Fran. San Fran's going to be good. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think the Steelers game is a win because it's home, and the Steelers need to prove shit to me at this point.
They've been needing to prove shit for 2 seasons now.
But they started out like 13-0, right?
Yeah, they're 11-0. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then they lost their last
3 or 4 games.
I
Yeah.
heard Big Ben lost some weight though.
Slimming down.
I found God and lost weight, so
Yeah.
a whole different man.
It's not an easy schedule, but
Last year he found God. This year he
I
lost
still think the
weight.
Vikings are probably a 10-6 squad.
10-6. Okay.
It's hard to find where that is.
I got you. For me, I have them going. All right, at Cincinnati, dub. At Arizona, L. Seattle, L. Cleveland, dub. Detroit, dub. At Carolina, I'm gonna say Carolina wins that one. Dallas, dub. Then I've got a 3-game losing streak. Baltimore, LA, and Green Bay. I say they all get a piece of them on that one. At San Francisco, dub. At Detroit,
You got the Vikings going 7-9.
Detroit got an L. Pittsburgh and Chicago, I say they beat both of them, and then they lose the last three games of the season.
Game thrown on this season.
Yeah, so total of 7 and 10.
I don't
There's
see
a-
that being possible, but let me tell you what, if it is, I'm happy to have Zimmer walk out that door, maybe.
Are you not a big Zimmer fan?
No, I mean, I just think this is a young man's game.
Okay.
All the successful,
Yeah.
all these successful teams. I
Right.
mean, there's some outliers. Andy Reid is an outlier and elite. But there's only one Andy Reid.
That's true.
But, Packers coach Young,
Yeah.
Niners coach Shanahan. It's just a lot of
Right.
the guy at the Rams.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you think everybody, both of y'all picked Arizona to beat Vikings, so you got another young.
Yeah, I can't remember his name,
These
but-
franchises are turning over. Who's the head coach for the Cowboys now? That they hired?
Oh, Packers.
McCarthy?
Yeah, McCarthy.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
that didn't work out last year very good.
I don't
I'm not a
see
big
much
Dak
change.
Prescott fan either.
Got
Generally
you.
speaking, so I'm not. But he's also a big question mark, just because he's coming back from injury.
Right, a pretty major one. Let's go ahead and jump into the Packers schedule here. I'll kick it off for this one. So for the Packers, I've got them more or less repeating a lot of their record last year. So I've got at New Orleans, W. Detroit, I'm going to say they lose. I'm going to say Detroit comes out and plays them really tough in that first meeting between the two of them. San Francisco, say they win. Pittsburgh, win. Cincinnati, win. At Chicago, I'm going to say they lose that one. I think their division this year, I think is just going to play them a lot tougher than they did last year. Washington, this will be one of those weird games where Washington just upsets a team that they should have no business beating. I say Washington wins that one. At Arizona, I say win. At Kansas City, win. Seattle, loss. And then from here on out, winning streak. You know how the Packers do. When they turn it on, they turn it on. So at Minnesota, dub. LA, dub. Bears, dub. Ravens, dub. Browns, dub. Minnesota, dub. And then Detroit, dub again. So, yeah, I got them 13-4. Go ahead, Shaq.
I mean,
Oh, yeah, let me pull up yours so you can see where you're at. All right.
so I have them going against New Orleans. I say dub actually against New Orleans. New quarterback taking it as a charge. It's whatever. L against Detroit. Some magic, stupid stuff. They gotta take an L somewhere. They can't be perfect. Dub against San Fran. Dub against Pittsburgh. I don't have no confidence. I want to have confidence in my team, but it's still Aaron Rodgers at the end of the day.
Yep.
Dub against Cincinnati.
Is it going to be Aaron?
Yep.
Supposedly.
L against Chicago. Dub against Washington. Dub against Cincinnati. Dub against Arizona. Yeah. I say they take an L to Kansas City.
There
I
we
say
go.
they take a dub to Seattle. And then they
At Minnesota.
dub against Minnesota.
Okay, on the road.
They win against LA. They beat the Bears. They L against Baltimore.
Okay,
I
okay.
say they beat Cleveland. What I have them going? I say they take an L to Minnesota. And dub against Detroit.
All right, I was gonna say there's no way Detroit beats them both times this
No,
year.
It's just some fluke is gonna happen one of these games.
All right, so you haven't gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 and 5.
Yes.
Put that in there. Done there. All right. I think Matt went to the bathroom or something.
Here he comes. I go switch out with him, go to the bathroom because I've been.
Okay.
Yep.
There we go. Perfect. All right, Matt is
If the Packers got Aaron Rodgers starting,
right. We're gonna assume that he's there. So
then they're going to go 11-6.
okay, 11-6.
If they have, what's Love's first name?
Jordan
If
Love.
Jordan Love is starting, they're going to go 5-12.
5.
I don't know where these losses are, but they're coming.
Gonna put in quotes.
Aaron Rodgers
Love.
got tackled and broke a collarbone. That shit can happen. If you got the Vikings losing at Arizona, then we're definitely taking the Packers to lose at Arizona. I think they're going to lose at New Orleans too.
Oh man.
You underestimate Sean Payton. That man I hate him, but he is really good at coaching football.
Okay. Do you think the Lions can get a win on them this year?
Well, you guys love the Lions beating the Packers. Yeah, well I don't know. Is that all? No, that's at Green Bay. You guys both of you have the
Yeah, we have
both
them.
of you have the Lions beating Green Bay at Green Bay in week 2 in the home opener for the Packers. That's not happening. But they get them down there
in the last
Detroit.
game of the season. Yeah.
And who knows? But see, the last game, yeah, that might not happen either. It depends on what the Lions are doing. If
Right.
they're sacking up their bats.
Right. The Lions always seem to come out swinging
They're
those
at Kansas
first few
City,
games.
that's an L. They're at Minnesota, L. Home Seattle, that's nice for them. Home LA Rams, that's good for them. Home against Washington. Home against Pittsburgh. That's not a bad schedule for them.
Yeah.
How the
They've
hell
got
did they go
a solid
13-3
one.
and get a better schedule than the Lions or the Vikings? Yeah. You know
Yeah.
what? Whatever. They're going to lose a bunch of games.
Somehow, some way, they're losing some games this year.
The gods are done with the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the Lions here. Let me see, where do I have the Lions? All right. So for the Lions, all right, Detroit, strap in because there's a lot of red on your schedule. All right, so opening up against San Francisco, I have you guys winning that one. As we just mentioned before, I have you winning at Green Bay somehow, some way. Baltimore, have you losing. Chicago, at Chicago, I have you losing. At Minnesota, I have you losing. First Cincinnati, I also have you losing. At the Rams, I have you losing. Hosting the Eagles, say you win that one. You're going to go on a bye. You're going to come back. You're not beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're not beating the Browns. You're not beating the Bears. You're going to go to Minnesota, or you're going to host Minnesota. Like I said before, I think you're going to win that one. At Denver, I think you win that one. Just take that, Drew Lock. Arizona, so you lose that one. At Atlanta, so you win that one. And then the last two games, LL at Seattle and hosting Green Bay.
I just find it funny you have them losing to my whole division.
Yeah. I say Cincinnati gets their jab in on them.
Even
too.
the Bengals, you have the Bengals beating the.
You got them beating Minnesota. Oh, at home. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll split. They'll win their home game and then lose their road game. So I have a total of 6-11 for the Motor City. Yeah, Shaq. If you want to go next, let me pull up Detroit for Shaq. All right.
So I have them losing against San Fran. I have them losing against Green Bay. I have them lose against Baltimore.
Got to be some wins in here somewhere.
They
folks.
lose against. Actually, they win. They beat Chicago.
Okay.
All right. They lose against Minnesota. It's so hard for me to put the Bengals above anybody, so they're gonna win against the Bengals. Still the Bengals, y'all. They're gonna lose against LA. They're gonna lose against Philly.
All right.
Yep. They lose against Pittsburgh. They lose against Cleveland. They beat Chicago again.
Damn, they sweep Chicago.
Exactly. I say they split with Minnesota. They beat Minnesota this time. They beat Denver.
Hold on. Let me just verify something real quick. Minnesota, Shaq, Dub. All right, so you have Minnesota. The first time around, you have Minnesota sweeping the Lions. So do you want to keep that, or do you want to say they split?
The Vikings are sweeping the Lions.
I'll go with that one.
Okay. Let me go back.
That one seems a little bit more rational as I think about it.
Let me just erase really quick. Sorry, Lions. There goes one of your precious wins. All right.
Yep. So they
At Atlanta.
They lose against Atlanta.
Jesus.
They lose against Seattle, and
Love
they
that.
lose against
Okay.
Green Bay.
So
Probably
you guys-
easier if you count the dubs than the L's.
Yes, absolutely. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So you guys are going 4 and 13.
So I have Detroit going 4-13.
Well.
I mean, it's not much worse than what you have going as.
Yeah, I only get 2 more games out of it, but you know, it is. Yes, it is what it is. Matt, did you want to run through the Lions schedule here?
Lions, they're going to go 5 and 12.
Okay, so you're going right in between us. 5 and 12. All right, fair enough.
I can see that.
All right.
I mean, they're home against Arizona, so that's nice for them. Some of the at Atlanta, that's a weird one to pull. Because they'll be better, won't they?
Sure.
It should be.
Still got a decent quarterback, and then
Right.
kind of upgraded the offense on one hand and then not on the other hand.
Right.
I mean, it's a Lion.
I mean, even if we weren't drinking sober, we probably would have.
All right. Last but not least, Chicago, Chirac. Shaq, you want to go first for Chirac?
Sure, I go first for Chirac. First L to LA coming out of the season. And then I say they get a dub against Cincinnati because, like I said, I cannot put Cincinnati above anybody. Cleveland take an L to Cleveland. I say they beat Detroit.
Do you have the beating Detroit? Oh, let me just check this real quick.
It's so hard to keep up with it.
No, you have them losing
That's
to Detroit.
So I can't put in this.
Yeah, you have them losing to Detroit twice. So,
So I might as well just put those L's in that column
Yeah.
already.
Hold on real quick. Take that out. Let's go ahead and... Oh, my bad. Took the wrong... Fuck me. But L. And you said Cleveland, they
lose against Cleveland.
Okay, gotcha.
I say they're gonna lose against the Raiders too, because they're at. I say they lose against Green Bay. They definitely lose against Tampa. They know. Question about that.
This is really sad.
They lose against San Fran. They lose against Pittsburgh.
My goodness.
This is a hard schedule, fella. They lose
They're
against
not beating
Baltimore. They lose against Detroit. They lose against Arizona. They're not beating Green Bay. Do I have to put this?
Let's see Minnesota. Any hope over here? Yeah, you do have... Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you have the Vikings beating the Bears. They split, so okay. Right there. So this first one is
The
a dub.
L against Seattle. L against New York for some odd reason.
And then there's an L.
L there. So I have been winning 2 games.
The Bears.
The Bears 2-15. I have the Bears going 2-15 for the season.
Oh, man.
I'm just gonna price this right Shaq on this, and I'm gonna give him 3 wins.
Fair enough. You're gonna go 3-14.
I don't see him in any of those games either, though, to be honest.
You know what's funny? Earlier in the episode, I said people should give them more credit than they did, and I have going 2-15. I precisely give them one more credit then.
You got him beating Cincinnati.
I have a lot more hope for the Bears.
You got the Bears, Doug. You got the Bears having more wins than the Vikings.
I do. I think the Bears are in for a great
They're
season.
a worse football team.
They are, but I think
There's a lot of juju in the air that year.
I think Justin Fields is going to come in earlier than we expect, and he's going to ball out in the last few games or so and make up for some
He's only
lost
gonna be
time.
playing at the starter. Andy Dalton gets hurt. Or
Right, but will happen probably those last few games because no way Andy Dalton makes
But
a
he's
whole
not
year of
coming in
football.
and winning games, bro.
I think
At
he
Minnesota?
will. I think he will.
At Seattle? Are you? I mean,
I think he's gonna be that dude.
even Daniel Jones up in New York
Gonna give him the business.
No way.
That one's very iffy about Daniel Jones.
I think Daniel Jones. I think watch for Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones is gonna have a big year too,
Yeah, I
though.
kind of like he was good last year.
He was.
He had some funny moments because he like fell on his face,
Right.
and then they were rough because they lost Barkley and like whatever. But
Uh-huh.
he did good.
He did, and now he's got a bunch of weapons.
Now
So
he's better. They're better.
yeah,
Barkley should be back. Anyway,
but yeah, I've got a at LA
Fields,
loss, Bengals dub, at Cleveland loss, Detroit win, at Las Vegas win, at Green Bay win, at Tampa
at Green
L.
Bay, the Bears are beating Green Bay at Green Bay.
I'm sorry, hosting Green Bay
Okay.
win. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, and then hosting San Francisco dub, at Pittsburgh L, hosting Baltimore L, at Detroit dub, hosting Arizona L, at Green Bay L, hosting Minnesota L, at Seattle dub, hosting New York dub, at Minnesota dub.
What do we think? What are our feelings about Seattle here?
Shaq picked them to go to the Super Bowl, and
Where are they gonna beat them?
I think they're gonna go
I couldn't
to.
remember. I mean, I know they got Russell Wilson, but like, do they get better?
DK Metcalf. I see this
Yeah.
DK Metcalf is like 3rd season of the league.
Yeah,
I think he's going to truly
Yeah.
discover himself and truly realize that, yo, can't nobody guard me like that. So I'm going to go ahead and play.
so out of
He's
this,
he's kind of a head case. So
Metcalf, yeah, he's kind of full of
like-
himself, but not
But
to a fault.
I think a little bit like T.O. He's a lot like T.O.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to get in the way of him being great.
Mm-hmm.
But it could. Like, You know what I mean? He was
My-
close a couple
My,
times.
my
Yeah.
thing is, he's very, even though he's full of himself, he's very much there in athleticism and a capability. If you would just bring it back, just wind it down just a tad bit, unstoppable on the.
I think the thing with DK is that he's not consistent.
Right.
And part of that is that he isn't very confident in his hands. And he struggles being really, really strong with just his hands.
Yeah.
He's not a possession receiver.
Right.
If you remember what made T.O. great in many cases was, and then he would break down. And T.O. would go on a 5-yard crosser, or he'd catch a little hitch and turn.
And
And
just
Moss would do that too,
yeah.
even though what you remember the most is
Right.
DK needs to become accountable on all the routes.
Yeah.
Because if he does that, then he will be great because he will break some of those. You know, he'll go out, he'll catch a curl, and he'll turn, and somebody will fall, and he'll put somebody down, and he'll go.
Yeah.
He's got to get those.
I compared him more to of a Megatron type of aspect where he is too big for these corners and safety to be taken on, but too fast for these linebackers to be trying to manhandle down. So if he can realize the size and strength he has and the speed that he has over it, like you said, be more comfortable catching the ball. Because my thing is, once he learns that I just got to catch his balls. That's all. That he
Right.
will
Just focus on catching the damn
size
ball.
should really, when he gets matched up against corners or safeties, that's when a lot of times you're not going to be able to go deep.
Yeah.
The size needs to be a comfort zone for him. He needs to be comfortable with the contact and to be comfortable catching the ball because it's almost like basketball at that point.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
we're going to run these routes, I'm going to make myself this big and you're not, and you're going to have to interfere with me if you want to come through me. But I got to you're going to have to make those catches, and they're going
Right.
to be, they're going to be tough catches.
Where the rule that I firmly believe where possession is 9/10 of the law, that we ain't got to look for these big plays. Just catch the ball. If you have to just go down. Guess what? You just need yardage sometimes. You just got to realize that you're just a big target for Russell to hit.
Wes Welker was lauded for years for the number of catches he had,
Yeah.
as are others, right?
Right.
The number of catches. So the big plays are big, but you're going to be elite when you can do it all.
Yeah.
Jones is a big and
Right.
a big play guy, but you know that man's going to catch the ball and throw to him.
Oh, yeah.
However you're going to throw
Yeah,
it. To.
we just need 5 yards. Just go ahead, catch the ball on that yard, just drop. And we worry about the next 4 plays, the next 3 plays after that. We don't need you to go ahead.
That's a box out. That's a throw it to, like,
Yeah.
right there.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
He's not
Right
com-
here, we get a first down.
He's not coming around you. He's not moving you. Just
And if
Yeah.
he does, it's, you get the flag. Yeah, like, what else do they have offensive line issues big time. That was Russell
Yeah.
Wilson. Russell
Russell
Wilson's
Wilson,
big
yeah.
time complaint.
Right.
His threat to leave was over.
Right. I'm tired of getting killed. They did get a new I don't remember his name. They got a new coordinator, offensive coordinator, to try and switch up that stale ass playbook that they have. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, they didn't do too much.
He can still do it too because he's old. He's getting older. Like the way that he plays and has played, it's not sustainable.
Yeah,
But
he
can
gambles.
throw it. So
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
like,
that's why I have so much faith in him. I think he's a very capable quarterback. If you give him the time that he needs to actually develop his plays.
Yeah.
Like, you think Tom Brady would be the Tom Brady if he didn't have an offensive line? No, he's not an athletic person. He's not meant to sit there and move around the pocket. He's meant to stand there. So if you don't put guys in front of him that can give him more than 2.5 seconds to throw the ball,
but that was never an option
Yeah.
for someone like Tom Brady.
Right.
The thing was, Russell did things and does things where you're like, well, all right, so how much are we going to spend on these linemen when my man's
Yeah.
rolling out every other
Yeah.
play? And I think eventually, though, you've got to be able to provide, and also for your running game, you've got to be able to provide some level of stability in front. And I don't, maybe Russell's like, I don't want to do that
Right.
because it has to hurt.
Oh
He gets
yeah.
tackled every time he has to run the football. It has to hurt. And he got sacked. Didn't he get sacked more than like anybody else?
Yeah. Yeah. I think for a little while now, like it seems like every other year he's the most sacked quarterback.
This cannot feel good.
Yeah.
I know he had to have been mad My man's been there his whole career.
Yeah.
He was just like,
And he just
they made the playoffs. Didn't they make the playoffs?
yes.
Yeah, they did
And
that.
then
Yeah.
and he was like, you know what? Trade. People were like, excuse me.
Unfortunately, there's a good chance he may end up as one of those people that can be just a great football player, but never end up with a ring.
Well, he's got a ring.
Oh, he does have the one.
Yeah, the one. I forget. But he's gonna be like one of those people that people are like, yeah, only one ring, or like, yeah,
Right,
this and that,
similar to Aaron Rodgers, how it's like
But the
should
same-
have so many more.
But this is
But it's
also
just that
this
that
is also
one.
this is also a big discussion on, and the data is out there. And I got a good friend coaches with the Browns, and we just had this long discussion about who wins Super Bowls, and like 16 out of the last 19, or some ridiculous number, were quarterbacks in their first contract, or quarterbacks who were Hall of Famers. Okay? That was the group. And then the outliers were Trent Dilfer and Brad Johnson, and like maybe one more.
Nick Foles.
Oh, Nick Foles.
Yeah.
And to down and the Nick Foles thing was so crazy is that the Eagles won that Super Bowl because of Nick Foles.
Yeah,
Okay? So,
exactly.
the Ravens won their Super Bowl not because of Trent Dilfer,
Right.
nor did the Bucks because of Brad Johnson. Nick Foles
Was the recently,
doing,
yeah.
Carson Wentz got hurt and Nick Foles played better.
Yeah.
They were incredible, and they beat a really good New England team who played really good in the Super Bowl. Brady had like 150 yards in that game too, right?
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. There you go.
That was a crazy Super Bowl, and they had the trick play. It was really special. But that the problem with the quarterbacks, Russell won that when he was in his rookie deal, and then I want the $30 million.
Yeah.
You know what? 2 years ago, Aaron Rodgers got paid $66 million. Because the way the contract.
Right.
Dude,
Yeah, I know.
and 2 years ago, the Packers were not very good.
Yeah.
That was one of their
Right.
guys.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you supposed to do when one guy is taking up almost 20% of your
Exactly.
salary?
Here's my
Right.
thing. He's got to do the Brady maneuver and just go ahead and take
Yeah.
that pay cut.
I know, but they don't.
They don't.
But they don't think
Look
of
at-
long term
right,
of
if you
what's
look
going to
at-
benefit them.
Look at what Dak just did. Man just got paid, and it's like, all right, but
But
long term, what's going to happen?
They can't afford to give you nothing. And they could be like, man, I need weapons, I need protection, I need
Right.
this. And they're like, well, if you weren't sucking up all of our salary, that wouldn't be an issue.
This is what Brady did. This is how Payton was able to win at the end with Denver.
Yeah.
And these guys, they got paid, but they weren't like the highest paid player. Brady's always been paid well, but he's never been the highest paid.
Right.
And those extra, $3, $4, $7 million that matters every single year.
Goes a long way.
Am I?
After the first one, the first big payday.
Yeah. Right.
But after that,
Yeah.
if it hasn't worked out for you and you haven't won yet,
What's
maybe rethink that.
Yeah.
What's important to you? I was like, yeah, it's a paycheck, but think about it. You are still making more than enough money between deals and like all that to be okay. So it's like,
Oh, they're making.
do you want to retire with as a champion, as rings, as memorable, or do you want to be that player that just kind of like 5 years down the line after you retire, people are like, who? We're not forgetting Aaron Rodgers. We're not forgetting Drew Brees. We're not forgetting We're not forgetting these guys because these guys knew what was important was putting up numbers and making themselves remembered.
The other component to it that I know plays a factor is the Players Association. They aren't going to allow you to just be Tom Brady, take $15 million. Right? So you still took. You have. They're going to make you at that position take a number that is reasonable. Again, I mean, if I was Tom Brady and I know, he basically told the whole world, fuck off, they're the Deflategate thing, so whatever. I would tell the Players Association, fuck yourself. So I think that is always a card you can play, but it's just like they don't do it. I don't understand why they don't.
I mean,
Ben Roethlisberger has enough money. be like, fuck it, bro. Give me $10 million this year. Let's go.
He's
right.
When it comes to players being in the league, between him and like Tom Brady and a handful of other players, they have been in the league so long.
Yeah.
As long as they weren't out there being stupid with their money, they have more than enough money that their grandkids will still be able to. Yeah.
That's the thing. A few of them are old enough that it's possible they have been stupid enough with their money.
Yeah.
They've lost it because they've been out there long enough that they may have lost it. I can't imagine that being the case.
I mean, granted, look at Shaq. Why was Shaq in the league so much longer than he should have been? I firmly believe that man was broke at a certain point in his life because he went out probably spending a lot of money on shit that he didn't matter. He was part of the Phoenix Suns at a certain point for like a season. I firmly believe he was just taking whatever team was offering him money because like I'm broke. I'm gonna need y'all to give me like 1 year deal. I'll take whatever money you give me.
He was broke.
I think
You read
that
these articles about how much money Shaq's worth right now?
not now,
Yeah,
not now.
right.
Now between his contracts on all the ESPN and all the other shows, but
At one point, I think so.
But
Too.
when he was
owns,
active.
like, a lot.
but when he was an active player, like in the league before.
That's interesting.
I think when he was actively playing before he smartened up.
Seems that way.
Yeah.
It does seem
Like-
that way because he was fat and out of shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of stealing.
By the time he got back on defense, they're ready transitioning back to offense. It's like you should. Why are you playing this game? You're clearly not
Yeah.
physically able to still play this game. Why are you here? Because I think he needed the money and he wanted to bleed as much. But that's my thing.
And a lot of it's
He did have the divorce.
yeah.
And my thing is the start of his career, he basically could have asked. They would have gave Shaq a blank check at the beginning of his career, and they would have paid him whatever money. He started off on a team that started like a season, was like a year old. In French, the Magic. How Magic was there for a year before Shaq got there, or maybe that year. They would have been like, "Yo, we need this name."
Yeah, that's a sore spot for me as a Minnesota fan. That Timberwolves team was by far the worst team on earth.
And they still kind of are now. Not to put you out there, but
I just mean that season. And there were two guys, and the Timberwolves ended up with the third pick, and
Crazy.
the fucking Magic, one spot out of the playoffs. Go ahead and get Shaq.
Shaq, right. Crazy.
I mean, the Timberwolves. It's a rare occasion, you know, the old adage, they don't have anyone to blame but themselves. The Timberwolves are a rare case where they have themselves to blame fully, and they have gotten totally fucked by stupid rules. Totally. They got draft picks removed because they did a fucking deal with Joe Smith on a napkin. God, shitting me. Like players weren't doing that shit. Like people weren't doing that shit and they got fucking caught. It was even dumb. Like how
Yeah. They were just the one team dumb enough to get caught.
And
Like,
then they get the #1 draft pick last year, and who's available? Jason.
can I just say that if Shaq would have ended up on the Timberwolves, I feel like his career would have been completely different.
oh, totally.
His career would not have been. I'm not gonna say as great, but it would have completely taken a different like.
Well, no, he probably would have done what he did in his first year, and then he would have left and went to LA.
That's what I'm saying. It would have ended.
The Timberwolves would have been relevant for those 4 or 5 years, and then he would have gone to LA.
It's just hard to picture, not Magic Shaq, but Minnesota.
Yeah, you would have had Shaq instead of KG. You would have had Shaq because he would have missed out on Snow.
Shovel.
But like think of Shaq and Penny.
Right.
That-
yeah.
That worked out so great. I mean, the Timberwolves had a real shot with Stephon Marbury. It was a total fucking head case. Because KG and Marbury could have made magic
yeah, they
for
could
a
have.
while. And Marbury just lost his mind. And then
Yeah.
continued to, basically. Until he was... Is he still playing ball in China?
He probably is.
Last I heard he was.
It's so wild to me to think of.
They had Marbury, KG, and Tom Gugliotta. They had a nice little outfit. and Marbury thought he was worth more than KG. It was nonsense.
And that was the beginning of the end.
Now the Timberwolves, they were supposed to get Booker because he's buddies with D'Lo,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and that shit ain't happening now.
Yeah. That's a weird
And then
scenario
they
to think
didn't
about.
get their first pick this year because of the deal with the Warriors.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
they didn't get in the top 3, so they lost that
So they
shit.
didn't even get it
It was a
anyway.
good
Yeah.
draft year. They would have had a 7th pick. Would have probably been just as good as who did they get last year?
I can't even remember his
kid from Georgia,
name. Yeah.
Edwards.
Anthony Edwards. Yeah.
He was really good.
Yeah.
Something about Minnesota. Something about y'all.
Yeah.
They did, by the way, then they fired Flip's kid, and they hired this guy in the middle of the season, which, by the way, is one of the weirdest moves you've ever seen, right? Like, it wasn't a guy that they promoted on their staff to be the interim. They had a whole other fucking coach from somewhere else that they hired in the middle of the season.
Like, what loophole would screw us over the most? I'm glad to sign that.
Yeah, hopefully they didn't do a deal on a napkin. Because that dude showed up, and then they went on a fucking winning streak, and they won games. They were like, they were the worst or the second worst team in the league. And they ended up like the 5th or the 6th worst
Not
team
as
in the league
not as
within
bad.
like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
As long as you guys are not one of those teams that win games that you guys should be losing to benefit y'all.
Well, they were, but
For a little
I guess
while, yeah.
my Minnesota naivete says, hey man, maybe there's a reason they hired that coach, because they got a new GM, and they obviously they wanted that guy. They hired him in the middle of the fucking year, and didn't even wait. Didn't even wait until the end of the year, and then he came in and they won games. No, they shouldn't have, because it's a good draft, and they needed the protected. They needed to get the top 3,
Yeah.
and they screwed themselves.
Nothing is more painful to me than watching teams like, all right, you can possibly get the first overall draft pick, just go ahead and lose it out, and if for some reason win a game, it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
It's a tough conversation, because if you're one of those players, it ain't like you're not playing.
I don't give a damn. If you don't stop missing these shots, I'm gonna sit you. Come sit down. When I needed you to play, you weren't there. And all of a sudden, I needed to lose. And you want to be sitting here making 70% from the 3-point line. Sit down.
Yeah, you could have done that. Game 25.
Exactly. Now look at you.
Yeah, see, Phoenix. Okay, this game's over.
4 minutes into the first quarter,
Phoenix
done.
3,
Over.
Phoenix 3-1 already. Look at Chris Paul playing with these fools.
Are you ESPN speaking things?
Yeah, before we get out of here, Matt, did you want to mention anything about Bay Canyon before we wrap this thing up?
Well, come on, visit us over here on Main Street in West Tampa. We got our anniversary party coming up here in a couple weeks, July 30th, 31st, and the 1st of August. Got drag queen bingo on Friday night. Got
Nice.
live jazz Saturday. Got some music on Sunday. Bunch of new beers. Kitchen's gonna put out some new specials, some new food. Last year was kind of a weird party since I think we were at like 50% capacity, and
Yeah.
it was kind of weird to try to be promoting a party. So we were, sort of walking that line. It was still a really good showing, and hopefully we get a bunch of people back out here, maybe some new ones too. So
Nice.
July 30th, 31st, and August 1st. Come on out.
Cool. Thanks
Thank you
again
guys.
for.
Appreciate you having me for sure.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Anytime.
Absolutely. Folks, we did have, of course, the top 5 running backs, but we're going to save that again for another week. We did that last week, too, but just keep bullshitting too much every single week. So.
That's the thing about sports, especially coming these last few weeks of in-between sports, you just find all sorts of things to talk about
Right.
that should be a possibility.
We'd rather have too much to talk about than not enough.
Exactly.
So, let's excuse that. Before we leave, I do want to mention real quick, follow us on Instagram and TikTok. It's at AFR Sports on both. The poll for this week was who's winning this game, Game 4. The results right now, 23 people voted the Suns, 18 voted the Bucks. Wow. So we will we'll see what happens here.
Suns.
Right now it's looking pretty promising, folks. But yeah. That will do it for this week's episode, folks. We will see you all next week. Peace.
I felt like this was